unfortunately, that's the times that we live in where like a lot of the negative will get blown up.
And I have a big problem with Hollywood. And I want to actually call out Joe Budden. Yo, yo, yo.
What up, what up?
What's good, coworkers?
What's good, coworkers? Welcome back to this week's episode of the We Outside After Work podcast. I'm your host, Dana.
And I'm everybody's favorite. I'm Aaron. What's up, Dana? How you been? I ain't seen you in a minute.
I've been good. Yeah, we got to catch up. Our energy today is not that great because
No. Your energy is not that great. My energy is fine.
Don't be fake. You just said you barely have
big mama arms.
And you got jiggly arms. No, but for me, I'll speak for myself then. I didn't get home until 1 o'clock because I went to the studio. Shout out to Marvin. He had his marvelous jam for his birthday. So everybody was there. Lori was there. Hugo, Jason. So it was cute. It was like a nice get together. Jazz was there. Shout out to Jazz. Yeah, she pulled up. And it was a good time. We talked to Lori. I mainly talked to her about her upcoming episode because we've been wanting to have her on for a minute. So we're finally bringing that to fruition next week. Yeah, I didn't get home until like 1 o'clock. And then I had to walk my new puppy.
What's your puppy's name?
His name is Honeybun. And he is non-binary.
That's not a dog name.
It is a dog name. Dogs are supposed to have fun names like Spike, Croissant.
No,
Yeah.
that's the fuck of all. Who's naming their dog Croissant?
They should have fun names.
No, don't segue off of that.
I don't think dogs should have names like Sarah or John. Like they're fun. His name is Honeybun.
You said dogs should have fun names like Spike and Croissant.
Well, I just had a croissant, so that's why I thought about that.
So you would name
I wouldn't name my croissant, but his name is Honeybun.
That's not a dog name.
Close enough.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So
maybe Honey or Bun, but not Honeybun.
His first name is Honey, middle name Bun, last name my last name.
Okay.
Can I live? Like,
you can live.
I'm a new dog mom again, so I just want this experience to be more just not as stressful, even though potty training a puppy is not easy, but thankfully he's picked it up very quickly.
Why are you potty training? Why don't you just walk him like a normal dog?
That's what potty training is. Like you have to have them on a routine to go potty outside. So he has a very strict routine. So he goes 4 a.m., 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m., and
Who the hell is up at 4 a.m. walking the dog?
Yeah.
You said
puppies, like they will literally whine until they go outside because he don't go. Thankfully, he doesn't have any accidents in his playpen I got because he can't really just run out around the apartment and be destructive. So you got to keep them confined for the first.
So you got him caged?
I could show you his playpen. This is not a cage.
You got him caged.
He has a big, nice black mesh playpen.
Is it closed?
It has zippers.
So he's inside of something. Have
you ever had a puppy?
I have.
How did you raise your puppy? Because
I started with the cage.
He has a cage, but because he didn't do the cage that well, like he was kind of scared, he now has a bigger confinement, which is a playpen.
But it's confinement. He's in jail.
It's discipline.
It's jail. Would you want to be encaged?
Call it what you want. I know when I got my puppy, I didn't want him to be destructive. Mm-hmm. So they need to be, he's out right now. Like he's running around playing with his toys. He does that for 30 minutes and then he has to go take a nap in his playpen.
Why? Whose life is that? Is that his life or your life?
It's not the full time you have a puppy. Like, it's the first few months so they get used to their environment and they're not chewing on your wires. They're not destroying your furniture. They have to realize this is how you act in this new place. And once you don't have accidents, then you can have more freedom.
So let
I
me.
don't think you've ever raised a puppy before, because this is my
Oh,
second time around. And my first dog, like, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now. And she was more destructive because she didn't have that much discipline that my dog has now.
I've
Like,
raised a human though, and what this sounds like is conditioning. You are conditioning this dog to not live within its natural instincts because of your comfort and your preferences for his life. I think that's entirely unfair.
we need our viewers to comment if you watch this and let us know your thought, because you need to condition a puppy.
You don't need to condition anyone.
They have no sense of, okay, I'm not supposed to pee on your carpet.
Because they don't have to not pee on your carpet.
The thing with puppies is they like to mark their territory. Even though you take them outside and they pee or poop, whatever, they'll come back inside and just be destructive because they're puppies. Like, that's what they do.
Exactly.
So if you don't have a routine when you first bring them home, I'm not saying like this is his whole life, he's going to be in a playpen. This is like the first few weeks, first few months, until he realizes the more I don't be destructive, the more time I spend outside of my playpen.
Wow.
So as someone who has done this twice, this has actually been working very well. He's been home
For you, not for him.
I don't know about you, but like, I'm not trying to replace my furniture in a month because he done peed and pooped everywhere. So
By being a dog the way a dog is supposed to be, by God's grace.
get a puppy and do that.
That's not the point I'm trying to make here. What I'm trying to say is the dog is a dog. In order for us to domesticate a dog, we have to undog a dog. And I think that that's unfair. Like, let the dog roam. Take him outside. Let him be. You can mark his territory outside, but you can't do it inside.
Dogs are household pets, right?
To who? Not to a dog.
To us,
Yeah,
right?
to us.
Why do you buy a dog?
Like,
What's the purpose of buying a dog, though?
personally, I don't believe you should buy a dog. I think dogs should be able to be outside and enjoy life the way God intended.
See, you talk as if like you really speak as if like fantasy and what should be instead of what things are in reality. Like,
because
you have to train it when you take it home, or else it's going to be destructive and destroy your property. So if you want to buy a dog or adopt a dog, you have to condition it to your household, or else you're going to get destroyed things. And if that's the case, then you clearly want to live in a pig pen. So,
or I want a dog to operate the way a dog is supposed to operate. Like, if I have a squirrel, right? I shouldn't bring a squirrel in my home and then try to domesticate a squirrel. Squirrels don't operate under domestication. They just go outside and they just run and they try to find a nut and they keep it pushing.
So with dogs, you don't pick up dogs from the street.
Yeah, but dogs are originally from the wild.
But you get them from breeders nowadays,
which
right?
is fucked up. And them dogs are born with conditions that aren't conducive to a healthy life. This is a whole diatribe we can go down.
How was your last dog? Like,
Rusty.
how was that? Yeah.
Well, Rusty was adopted, and Rusty came from a broken home. So a lot of the things where he walked into, it was just about love. It was just about making sure that Rusty is comfortable. So making sure he was fed, making sure that he was free to roam. If he wanted to jump on the bed, jump on the bed.
How old did you get him?
He was probably he was an old dog. He was probably like 30.
Okay. So yeah, puppies, they literally, like, if you got him when he was 8 weeks, because that's usually the time when they can come from their mom.
Yeah, when they pull them from their natural life order.
They run around and they just try to get into things. Like, when I first brought him home, Honeybun, he was trying to bite wires. He was biting the side of my couch because he's teething. Like, as puppies, they lose their little teeth and he has like a missing tooth or so. You have to teach him, and I'm teaching him that having a routine, and I follow a couple of the dog trainers on Instagram. Shout out to this woman. I think her name is actually Lori too. But she's had like 30 years of training animals. So we can go on and on about
Hmm.
dog training and what makes sense.
Shout out to Honeybun.
Yeah, shout out to Honeybun, my baby, my new addition. I'm gonna put a picture of him on the screen.
Oh, you could have named him Bobby or Brown. Never mind. I thought it was funny. I'm sorry.
Nope.
He's your new addition, though.
Okay.
Okay.
What's your check-in?
To get into a little bit of what we're going to talk about later, last night I had a long night also. I went to the Dark Matter tour, featuring Cat Williams, Monique, Mark Curry, Tommy Davidson, Red Grant, a woman named Pretty Ricky V or something like that from Jersey, another woman, I think her name's Takara Williams, and everybody was funny. I believe every single human in Atlantic City was there, which was pretty awkward, but it was a great time. Then
Why was it awkward?
Because it's just like the seating arrangements was really weird, and I don't understand why black people be like this sometimes. You know how I feel about lateness. If something starts at 8 o'clock, why are you coming in there at 10 o'clock?
The audience?
The audience, because it's not just you. You're taking up time. You're walking through people. You don't know where your seats are at, and then these people, bless their fucking hearts, because I don't think they could read. It tells you what section you're in, what row of seats, and then your seat number is underneath the seat. Mm-hmm. It sounds simple, right? Very fucking simple, but these people could not get it. Again, we're in Atlantic City, so bless their heart. I'm not judging, but I'm judging. And then everybody just kept having like seat mishaps. And then the seats were so tight, like, and I'm tall, so I was like really uncomfortable. And then they're interrupting.
Where did they have the show?
They had it at Boardwalk Hall in AC. It was a great venue. Like, don't get me wrong, the venue was great, but I think they tried to add seats. So by adding seats, it kind of like brings it tighter.
It made it tighter.
Yeah, as they brought it tighter, I just couldn't sit. I was doing this the whole damn show. And then this girl decided to get a hot dog with onions on it. Like, what are you doing? Like, it interrupted my experience. And ever since COVID, I have like this thing with onions. It's like the smell is just so strong. And it's like repulsive.
Why since COVID?
I don't know. I guess it just affected my nose or something. Like,
you just can't eat onions ever since?
I can eat them, but it's the smell of them, like raw onions specifically. It's just like please, like I can't go to Wendy's because Wendy's got them thick ass raw onions that they put on their burgers, and they never forget to take them off when I ask them to take it off.
Yeah, I haven't had in a minute, but that sucks.
But the show was hilarious. Every single comedian was funny. Monique obviously was funny. So for all y'all to write some jokes, ass niggas, she wrote some fucking jokes. So I'm just happy to see my girl thriving. You know, ass was fat. Everything else was too. You know, shout out to Monique.
Yeah, shout out to Monique. We are going to get into her episode of Club Shay Shay because I finally watched it.
Oh, it took you a week.
Yeah, I finally watched it. I enjoyed it. And we're going to just get into different parts and things that
brief though, because you know I could go.
We got 2 hours. So guys, just so you know, this is going to be a part 1 and part 2. So part 2 is going to drop next week. So glad you enjoyed yourself at the show. Another check-in I want to say is I started Pilates. So I started going to Pilates 2 to 3 times out of the month. And I'm actually going after we record this. And I do just want to say it is important to work out your body and just keep that lifestyle going. Because I also realize that I'm doing a lot of stretching in Pilates, which I feel like has helped me in the gym. And
look at the dog living. The dog is living. Let the dog live.
You don't know what I'm looking at. Okay?
Yes, I do. What are you getting into, goddammit?
He's roaming. So whenever he gets to roaming, it's like, okay, you may have to get in your playpen because he's by the heater. I think he's licking the heater. Yeah. Honeybun, I'm watching you. Oh, God, he's licking the heater. But it's off. Anyway, yeah, so Pilates. I definitely recommend it. I actually ran into a girl from high school that I haven't seen in years. Her name is H.E.R. And it was funny because we were about to start our class and she was actually running late, speaking of late people.
Mm-hmm.
But we were like 2 minutes from starting and she just like sat next to the reformer next to me. And I was like, Kiara? And she was like, Dana? And yeah, like it was just a weird moment because it's like a face you only see on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
because it's been so long. Is she cute?
Mm-hmm. My bad.
I can send you her Instagram if you want to look.
I'm good. You said
She got
enough.
a boyfriend now.
She got a boyfriend though.
Yeah, that don't matter.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the episode. So, first and foremost, look, he's running around with the pee pad. First and foremost, we're gonna get into Usher's Super Bowl performance.
You know, it was actually a game that happened that day too.
How was the game?
They played before his performance and after his performance. Did you watch it?
Did you enjoy that part? Because for me,
I
like
did.
I don't watch sports, so obviously I'm watching for the halftime show, which I'm sure a lot of millions of people did as well. Not everyone was just watching the football game, but did you enjoy the performance, or what are your thoughts on it?
You know, when it first started, I give Usher a lot of credit because Usher was doing live singing, he was doing dancing, like he had a mic in his ear versus a mic in his hand. So that's a lot more difficult. And you obviously got to give people their respect when it comes to live performances. The sound was a little off at the beginning though. Like I was like, I don't know what's going on. It's not coming up. It's not coming across well. And maybe it's because I was listening to it. I think on Amazon or Paramount. I don't know what streaming service I was watching it on, but it was coming off a little choppy. But once he got on stage after Alicia Keys done hurt my ears, then it got real.
It was only the first note.
I'm saying that was like the indication that all right, shit about to get real now. Alicia Keys just done opened up some shit with that note, and then everybody got serious. And then
Okay.
Usher started bringing the skates.
Let's start with that Alicia Keys performance. So people was talking about the way he was holding her from the back after they performed. So why do you think that was like a reason that caused controversy?
Because people are territorial, and people believe that just because that's someone's wife that you're not supposed to show affection. It was a hug. Like if I see somebody that I ain't seen in a while and I give them a hug from behind, it's a hug. It's not like I'm over here humping her ass or something like that. You just give her a hug.
Yeah, I would say because they're both performers, they're both on the biggest stage in the world, the Super Bowl stage. For me, I think they were putting on a show. Like they were putting on something that would make people just connect more, where they see it's like old friends maybe. Apparently I heard allegedly they used to date back in the day. I don't know how true that is, but nonetheless, like for me, I'm like, it's a show, like this is somebody that he invited on to come and perform with him. So if he wanted to hug her and just show that chemistry as they were performing, I don't think it was that big of a deal.
Would you let a man hug you like that if you were married? Then it's that big of a deal. Because you didn't say no.
Well, you said people are territorial.
I'm talking about you.
I'm not a performer. I think things change when you are a performer because you have to portray a different persona. Like you have to show that.
Respect is respect.
I don't think it had nothing to do with respect though.
We need
Like
that.
it wasn't like making out, touching. She wasn't grinding on him. It was literally like a hug. Like I appreciate you. That's how I took it as.
But it
For me,
wasn't
like, I wasn't in that position, so I can't say like, oh yeah, if I was married, if I was Alicia Keys performing with Usher on the Super Bowl stage, and he like hugged me, like I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I think because also they try to say that Usher, like it's Mr. Steal Your Girl, that whole Kiki Palmer thing happened, and whenever women go to his shows, he serenades them, and that's just like the performer that he has cultivated. And then after that, he actually got married to his longtime partner.
Right.
So
It's crazy.
yeah, congratulations to Usher. So I think like I don't think it was that big of a deal.
Okay. After that,
So after that, we had the skates, right?
well, we had her fake playing the guitar.
That was my favorite part. I'm not gonna lie.
She looked good. Like like a different kind of like I gotta give her this credit because she's like very attractive, but you don't know what she looked like. Like I can't really pinpoint her from any other human in this world, but I know like it's her. Like I just know like she's just fine. But it's like yeah, like I just know she's fine. Like so you can just look at her. She got her glasses on, her glasses off. She could be doing music, not doing music, and she just got this aura of fineness. But it's mysterious. It's like
I
you don't
was
see no body, nothing. Like it's just fine.
right. What makes her fine? Is it the
It's like
mystery
energy.
of it
Yeah,
all?
it's like a mystique. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a mystique.
Yeah, because a lot of the performers nowadays, like you don't get that fully covered
Hmm.
woman who solely just wants to focus on her talent, which is playing guitar, playing instruments. So I do think that makes her stand out in a world of everyone else just showing everything.
I think
But
her and Ella May got a really good modesty to them, where it's like I still find you very attractive without you throwing your BBL in the air, without you being all extra naked. And it's not nothing wrong with the girls who are naked and whatnot. But it's something about a woman who can just like live in her elegance. That's just like the biggest turn on ever. Like if you can show me in your base form that you are the baddest, you
Mhm,
got us. Like there's nothing that she can do for the rest of the time that we won't think that she is absolutely flawless. So
mhm.
shout out to her. Shout out to Ella May. Those-
Yeah, shout out to her. Even though you said it was a fake,
It was. It was definitely. She wasn't playing that guitar.
I thought it was dope though. Like I like the fact that she played the part from "You Got It Bad," and then it went into was it "Bad Girl"?
I can't remember. It was a lot of songs.
There was a lot going on. I'm not gonna lie though, I didn't expect her to be on the stage.
Hmm.
Like that was a surprise for me, not only because like her and Usher don't have music together. So I think he brought her on solely for her guitar playing and so she could play that part of his song You Got It Bad. But it was like, was there anyone else you expected to be on the show? Because I know Jermaine Dupri popped in.
Put them little ass fucking Easter socks on.
Yeah.
He was bugging. But the only person I really would have expected but not expected was R. Kelly. Like that would have been amazing if he would have did Same Girl from Joe. I would have enjoyed that a lot.
Nah. They was never doing that.
Why not?
Especially on the Super Bowl platform because I feel like they're very particular on who they perform. Like, not only do you have to be a great artist, but when it comes to Black performers, I do feel like you have to stand out. So,
Hmm.
reasons why we've had the Prince, the Michael Jacksons, the Beyoncés, um, Janet Jackson did it with
Justin Timberlake.
Timberlake. Yeah, like you have to be the best of the best. And even Rihanna, like she did it last year. So I think there's a level of prestige they look for in the Black performers.
I also think somebody like Chris Brown, who's in the news today, specifically for All Star, people are getting shafted when they don't have the particular image that these industries want. Because there's no reason that somebody like Chris Brown hasn't been at least on that stage. And it doesn't have to be the highlight performer, but you penalizing him from a situation that happened when he was 18 years old, where NBA sponsors are like Ruffles are telling him he can't come to the celebrity game. And y'all can check his Instagram, y'all can check his Twitter because he put it out there. And I think that's fucked up because Ozzy Osbourne fucking was about to kill his wife and he's doing different things. Dr. Dre beat the hell out of Miss Chalet and he's over there got a whole damn California themed ensemble. So Snoop Dogg got to go into a murder case. So miss me with the image shit. I think the problem with greater white society is they want black people that are digestible. And I don't think Chris Brown has ever made himself digestible to white people. And I appreciate that about him. I don't need you to cater to these people. Fuck that. Do your music, do your art. We'll appreciate you.
I want to talk a little bit more on that NBA thing that happened. So he was supposedly going to play in the All-Star game because they asked him, like he put on his Instagram, the emails as receipts to show that they reached out to him. Now, in the past, there were moments where he did play in the All-Star game, even after that whole Rihanna thing happened, because that is something they always try to bring up. And like, he's like this bad person. And he's really not. Like, he solely is for his fans. And like, we see how he is as a father. He may not show that he's a one-woman man, but nonetheless, like, that has nothing to do with the person who he is and like the level of musician that he gives. So I thought it was fucked up because apparently they tried to act like they didn't reach out to him and he was a liar. But from what he posts, it seems like he goes to where he's appreciated and not in places that, like you said, he needs to be digestible to a certain white audience. So I love that about him. I love the fact that he's standing on his
Business.
and his business 10 toes down, right? Like his song. And
Oh, that's an actual Chris Brown song?
yeah, it's called Angel Numbers, 10 Toes.
Oh,
It was on 11/11. Yeah. Video just dropped a couple days ago.
nobody.
Yeah. So what?
I said nobody knows this.
Everybody knows this. If you're Team Breezy, you know. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think they just always try to play him, and it's very unfortunate because he has such a loyal fan base, and we want to see him on those platforms too because he does deserve it. But fuck all that. Honestly, I'm just waiting to see him on tour because he's going on tour this summer, and I'm sure that's going to be worthwhile and worth the wait. So, shout out to you, Chris Brown.
You want me to get you some Chris Brown airbrushed Nikes for the concert?
You do those, or you know somebody?
I graffitied them myself. I get some pen and paper.
Speaking of, you know Osei, right? The artist. He was there last night. He had a table and he had airbrushed all white Air Forces. So that's funny. But I would rock those. Only to the concert though. Like I wouldn't wear them.
Which is why I wouldn't buy them for nobody. Because like I'm not about to spend hundreds of dollars for a one day outfit.
Yeah, that's something you can only wear for events. Or like
Every time it's a '90s party, you're gonna wear them same ass sneakers.
Yeah, facts.
But I did dig Usher doing the skating. Being from Jersey, we big skaters. I can't do the dancing while I skate thing, but my family had a big presence at Skate 22 in Union. I don't know if you ever been there because you was a baby.
I know where it is, but I can't skate. Like I've tried skating in 5th grade, tried ice skating. My balance just it ain't there.
Well, it's two different mechanisms. First off, when you roller skate or inline skate, it's more so just a rhythm. Whereas ice skating, you need to have your shits tied up tight. Like you got to keep your balance in ice skates.
Either way, I can't skate for shit.
All right. Well, me and Jaden, we gonna skate next week. So, I'll show you how to skate one of these days. We'll do that. If you want to come to South Jersey.
Oh, I thought you said Skate 22.
No. Skate 22 has been closed since like 2008.
Okay.
9-10.
I didn't know.
What else you got for Usher?
So he also did, I guess it was somewhat of an interview on The Breakfast Club. Was it The Breakfast Club or Club Shay Shay?
Club Shay Shay.
Okay, yeah, it was like a post interview where.
Well, he might have did a post interview for The Breakfast Club because he was on Club Shay Shay before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was a Breakfast Club. So they were asking him, Charlamagne was asking him about different guests and people that he reached out to, right? Mm-hmm. And there was particular names. I know Chris Brown's name actually was mentioned, and he kind of like changed his tone to me. Like I peeped that from the beginning. He was like, Charlamagne was like, "Oh, what about Chris Brown?" Because they do have that song. And they fought in so allegedly in Vegas last year. But I just thought it was crazy how he was like, nah, I don't know that, or that man is good, or something in the lines of that man, where it's like the energy shifted because whenever he does speak about Chris Brown or like vice versa, he does say, oh, this is my brother. So I just thought that was funny.
But then he dissed him on the song.
Which song?
I don't know. They said something about he dissed him, talking about his verses can't compare to mine or something like that on his newest song.
Who? Chris
Usher.
Brown?
Usher.
Oh, well, Usher dropped the album. I didn't listen to it.
I ain't listen to it either. I'm good on new Usher. It reminded me of new R. Kelly. Like, I'm not trying to bring R. Kelly back into the conversation, but when R. Kelly was doing like that modern touch songs, and it's just like, please, like, you're 50. And there's nothing wrong with 50-year-olds doing modern music. Shout out to Nicki, but it's just
There's a way to do it. Speaking of Nicki, I don't know if you listened to her Pink Friday 2 album. Did you like it?
yeah. I love Nicki. Nicki's my girl.
Yeah, I love Nicki too. I'm a Barb, but I'm not like a crazy Barb. But I listened to the new album probably like 2 times at this point. I have my favorites. And I just think that like her level of performing and musician, like she should be somebody who's on the Super Bowl next year. Like that would be someone I would love to see. Like someone who I know I'm gonna get like a full performance, a show. I know last year Rihanna did it and we had our thoughts too on that episode, and a lot of people thought like it was kind of like minimum bare minimum. So it was nice just to see Usher do his thing. I heard rumors, apparently they may do it in New Orleans, and then Lil Wayne wants to come out and do his whole set with his people.
And they gotta have Bruno Mars.
I was gonna say, they do back-to-back Black performances, but you also gotta give, the other sides.
Wow.
It's the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they're not giving you like strictly rap or strictly R&B. They're giving you pop artists. Rihanna's a pop artist. Beyonce's a pop artist. Usher's a pop artist. So if they're gonna do something, they might do like Adele, but that's gonna be something palatable for everybody. They're not gonna put fucking Jelly Roll, somebody that nobody knows except for country singers. Like, they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, but I'm saying though, I love the fact that we are getting that recognition and we are able to do it back to back and every single year.
It's a little Jay-Z related because Rock Nation is the one who controls the Super Bowl halftime shows. But do you know why the Super Bowl halftime show is even a thing?
Do you have history?
I do have history. Shout out to Black people, because Black people always are disruptors in the industry, and this is very important history for Black History Month. So in 1992, during halftime of the Super Bowl, in Living Color, the Wayans brothers, they ended up doing a skit. And during the skit, it was basically like a moment in time for just halftime where they was on a different channel and everybody tuned off of the Super Bowl during the halftime and everybody tuned into Fox to watch in Living Color. And they had a countdown clock, so that way you wouldn't miss when the game starts. So all these people shifted the channel, and that's how you win over ratings and different things like that. Mm-hmm. So the people who ran the Super Bowl, they were super upset. They were like, we can't let this ever happen again. And the only way that we're going to do this is to make sure that people are tuned in to watch the Super Bowl at halftime. So you know what they ended up doing?
Tell us.
They ended up putting Michael Jackson on the 1993 Super Bowl halftime show, all because of some Black folks over in Living Color decided to be disruptors. So shout out to the Wayans. Some of my favorite comedians, Damon, Marlon,
yes.
Sean, not so much. Keenan, we love Keenan. So yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the Wayans. I'm actually rewatching the My Wife and Kids series that's on Netflix because that was such a great sitcom. And
you remind me of the girl because she's a little slow, Claire.
Why do I remind you of Claire?
Y'all look alike.
Is it our face?
It's y'all just kind of like look alike when you have your hair curly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not because
you got served too. Probably because y'all light skin, big heads, same difference.
That viewers, you hear this?
No, you're not gonna get mine in. No, I'm just messing with you.
Discrimination. No,
they was the ones discriminating. Got rid of the dark skinned girl.
Yeah, so and that actually happened season 2, literally like episode 2. And it was so funny the way they did it because when the nuclear popped on stage, or not on stage, but popped on the show, Michael, who was also Damon Wayans, like he's the dad, and he was just like, "Oh, Claire, you look different," and she was like, "Why? Like I feel the same. Like why do I look different?" He's like, "I don't know. It's basically like a different person." So it was funny the way they try to make it.
A little bit of fourth wall breaking, making
Yeah,
people.
right, because it was obvious. But I was just thinking about just sitcoms now. Like, do we even have sitcoms to that level in our community? Because I know a lot of the shows that are popular are like the Zeus Network, Baddies, Love and Hip Hops. So it's like, why can't we bring that back? Because that was fun. Because remember when they would have like special guests, celebrities pop up, and they had like Kobe Bryant or Moesha, and it would be like, oh my God. And I think that was just a great point in time that if they want to start bringing shit back, because that's the new thing too, right? Is everything is like a remake. I think they should remake that whole era of sitcom.
I don't think that they don't. I think the problem is the way that we consume TV nowadays. So back in the day, it was all episodic weekly television, where it's like, I'm going to sit here on Monday, watch UPN from 8 to 10 o'clock with the black shows. But now they're just going to throw them all on Netflix. You're going to get the whole series and the whole season, and you're just going to sit there and watch it. And now you got to wait for another 6 months to a year to watch the next season. So they're still putting those black TV shows out there. It's just in different formats. A lot more dramas, less sitcoms.
Yeah, I know with the Grownish series, they put it on Hulu, and then what they'll do it with Hulu shows, they'll sometimes do it with Netflix. They'll give you a couple episodes at a time, and then next week or like in 2 weeks, you'll get the other batch, like the end of the series. So I do think the whole Hulu setup would work where like every week you're getting something. They do that with Abbott Elementary, actually. So yeah, I think like, I don't know, like it was just such a like I just love the family dynamic and like the wholesomeness of just seeing us in a better light. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because
But
we don't have that much now, and it's not that apparent. And even with I started watching, I think it's Living Single. Yeah, that's on HBO. So that was like a 90s series with Queen Latifah. And
I've heard of it. Tell me more.
can I tell the viewers, like, are you okay? Like, we're on a podcast. I'm explaining things for people,
I don't be knowing because you wasn't born when it came out, so I'll be trying to double check.
but I'm watching it now. Just like when Michael Jackson did the Super Bowl.
I was born.
Did you watch it?
Probably not.
Oh, because you was shitting in your diaper. You know what was
I
going on.
was 4.
Right.
I wish I was shitting in my diaper, like Honeybun.
He don't wear diapers.
That's a start. Get him some diapers.
My
But no,
old dog wear
sorry.
diapers.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
just a side note. Yeah, she had a period. She was a girl dog, so they have to wear diapers so they don't have period stains all over your house.
Mm.
Yeah, but back to our sitcom point. So what I was gonna say was before I was really interrupted was another point they did on Living Single was they would always wear the HBCU sweatshirts. Like that was something that I always thought was super dope because they tried to represent black colleges in that way, and it just like subliminally gave you, like the thought of like, oh yeah, like this is a school, maybe I can look it up if like I know someone who eventually is going to college. So shit like that to me was just more like elevating than what we have.
And I think a lot of what's happening now is with the whole unnecessary approach to DEI is I don't want to make this a black show.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't want to make this a white show. I just want to make it a show. So when you do stuff like that, when black people are now part of ensemble cast versus a black cast, it comes off like it's not a black show. So I think like The Neighborhood with Cedric the Entertainer is a sitcom that's been going. I used to watch The Marlon Show all the time, sitcom that's been going. But it's just no one watches CBS. No one watches Fox. No one watches ABC.
It doesn't have to be on there though. Like
I'm just saying from that TGIF back in the day sitcom perspective.
yeah. I mean, because we know streaming services is now and it's going to be the future, and it's probably going to get even more convoluted because there's just so many streaming services. But I do feel like even with Tubi, so Tubi does give smaller directors and producers a platform to put their movies. Like, yes, you'll have other big name shows. I think a lot of the comedy series, like even what Cat Williams was saying, like Cedric the Entertainer's stuff is on Tubi. You'll find like a lot of Tyler Perry stuff on there too. But I know a friend who recently did a movie like in his town. There was a producer, a cast, and all of that, and they were able to put the movie on Tubi. So I do think it just gives more visibility to the smaller audience and just gives them a way to have a bigger platform. So I don't know. I think it just could be utilized better in a way that benefits us more rather than just the ratchet shit.
But I don't think it's just the ratchet shit that puts Tubi in a bad light. I think sometimes us as a people, we know how to make fun in such a wonderful light, where now it's like Tubi has a negative connotation to the point where it's like Tubi has a lot of positive things going for it. Like even last year when it came to the Super Bowl, you could have literally just put Tubi on and watched the whole entire Super Bowl. But because it's Tubi, it's like I don't want to tune into that. Meanwhile, you can find old black movies like Class Act or All About the Benjamins or, like you said, the Tyler Perry movie on Tubi. Like it's stuff there. It's not just Black Baby Daddy Part 1 and Part 2. Like it's actual content on there, and it's also a great space for developing creators because the black studios don't have all the 4K cameras or 5K cameras, and they don't have all these special effects budgets and costume budgets and different things like that. So yes, we poke fun, but we also got to recognize where it's coming from. Like it's legitimate low budget, not to the point where it's let me make fun of it because it's low budget.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's
I'm not
bad.
saying.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying Tubi is bad. The movie that I mentioned, I forgot the name of it, but it was done by a director who wants to get into the entertainment space. So I think it was like a two cameraman show. They had a script. Some of the things didn't really make too much sense as far as the storyline because I did read some of it. But nonetheless, they're trying, And I think if you are trying with whatever goal you're trying to accomplish, as long as you are starting and you're putting it out there for viewers, and then as you go, you get better, and that's a part of the process and that's a part of the journey. So I do think Tubi allows that, and that's something that we didn't have back in the day where like there was a streaming service to easily upload your art because you had to go through, like the CBS, the Fox, or whatever cable stations that we had. So,
Well, now we can just go to YouTube and we can do 3-hour interviews with famous people. And then we can drop some gems. We can drop some controversy. And we could talk our truths because that's what 2024 has been about, right? Speaking of truths.
the age of Aquarius.
Is that what that is?
That's where we're at. This year's the age of Aquarius, which
The year of the
means,
dragon.
are we in the age of a dragon for the Chinese?
The year of the dragon. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But as far as astrology goes, we are in the age of Aquarius, which means like free flowing, things are going to come out, and things that were done or said unexpectedly. So we're going to get into the Club Shay Shay Monique interview. So because this is your girl,
It's my girl.
how did you feel about it? How did you feel after watching it compared to in the beginning?
I'm going to take a different spin. I'm actually like not surprised by anything that I've heard because if you've heard Monique before, you've heard Monique before, right? This is nothing new. She didn't really disclose of much if you've paid attention to her. What I'm more annoyed with, and I have the similar sentiments, is from now all of a sudden people want to take their side. Like Cat Williams and Monique have been repeating these things over damn near a decade, Where were you 10 years ago? Where were you when she was on the Breakfast Club? Where were you when he had Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish on the Breakfast Club talking about him? Like, where were you? Because none of their stories have changed. And that's the one thing I've learned about truth. Truth lies in consistency. If I'm telling you these things repeatedly over and over and over again, why are you refusing to listen and all of a sudden you want to believe me now? And the biggest issue that I had out of the whole interview was the Tyler Perry recording. If you are in these circles and you pay attention to Monique's story, this recording came out like 5 years ago. The whole thing. So now it's like, oh, she got Tyler Perry. You didn't want to listen. You didn't care to listen.
Let me ask you this then. Why do you think personally this was something that blew up? Where like now people are taking her side? Like, what are your thoughts?
Because it's cool. It's cool to do. People are hype beasts. They jump on trends. People assume that Club Shay Shay is a gossip place. Like, they think that, oh, you just go on Club Shay Shay to talk shit about people. It's literally only been 2 interviews that's ever done that. Mm-hmm. But because it's been so viral and people just want to attach themselves to the scuttlebutt, this is what happens. It's cool to now be on this side. Like, oh, look at these people. Look at them doing them wrong. The truth teller is like, no, you're just picking sides. And I don't like that shit. I think that's so corny. Mm-hmm. And I'm not opposed to them picking the side of what I believe is right. I just want you to make sure that you're consistent. People can change their minds, but did you?
Okay. I want to make sure you finish your thought. Okay. So just to follow up on people are followers, I think that goes back to just what we've been dealing with, especially in comments, where a lot of the negative comments are the ones that get all the likes. Mm-hmm. A lot of opinions are based on things that have already been said, but just reworded in comments on social media. I do think Cat Williams set the tone just because we did see how popular and how fast that blew up. And then we had Monique come on who, like you said, we knew her history. Most people who follow her story, we knew that she was blackballed and the reasoning behind that. So the fact that she's going now on a platform where Cat Williams was just on there and he gave his truth, it's like, okay, now we have round 2 of this side of the controversy. So I think it was that people like to hear other people's issues, like they gravitate to that. That's trauma bonding, where it's like, all right, someone is coming to express their feelings and their genuine concerns and thoughts and how they were done wrong, because that is why she was on there, to just talk about her history and her story. And I do think Cat Williams lighting that fire underneath Club Shay Shay helped push her story. So, like, unfortunately, that's the times that we live in where like a lot of the negative will get blown up and people will eventually see, all right, she was done wrong in this way, even though she's been telling the story for 10 plus years.
And I have a big problem with Hollywood. And I want to actually call out Joe Budden, right? Because they were referencing the whole aspect of Monique talking to Kevin Hart, and Kevin Hart loaned her some money. Great job, appreciate it. Here's your money back, right? But then you, out of your mouth, told me that you would do something for me. So me, knowing that you're pretty much a man of your word, as you've shown me, I'm taking this to these Hollywood executives, and now all of a sudden, this white man is coming to tell me that, nah, that's not happening. Okay, I don't have a problem with you telling me that, Mr. White Man. Let me call my friend. Hey, Kevin, what's going on? Oh, this is such and such. It's a miscommunication. Okay, Kevin, no problem. Can we handle that? Then you go ghost on me. Yeah, I appreciate you for doing what you did for me. That don't mean that you can't do me wrong because you did a solid for me. You can still be fucked up. My problem with Joe Budden is his perspective on it was, that's what we do in Hollywood.
He said that?
Yeah, basically. Wow. Paraphrasing. That's what we do in Hollywood. We will tell somebody, "Oh yeah, we want to work with you. We would love to work with you," and then not work with them.
That's fucked up.
I think that's super corny. People all the time, they come to us and say, "Yo, we want to get on your podcast. We want to do XYZ, XYZ." Me too. I definitely want to do it. Let me find some time and let me try to figure something out. You talk to me, you call me, I'm not going to ghost you. But I will also tell you if I can't make it happen. So don't sit there and play with me when my livelihood is on the line. So it's like, yeah, I get Hollywood has some kind of a standard, but at what point are we as black folks who have been consistently marginalized gonna break the Hollywood standards?
Right. And just because they have these standards doesn't mean it's okay either. One thing that Monique did say prior to all of that was how Kevin Hart did say she reminds him of his mother, right? So to have that sentiment and then treat her like that because that is the Hollywood standard, that don't even make sense. So I do feel like that's pretty fucked up. And another thing that she said that I really tuned into was when she was explaining her relationship with Oprah and how that transpired. So initially she was talking about when she first won her Oscar, and then Oprah reached out to Monique to tell her that, hey, listen, I'm interested in having your brother who molested you as a child on my show. This is when Oprah had her Oprah Winfrey show. So I also think that was a little crazy because why in this highlighted moment of Monique are you interested in having her brother who did her wrong on your show, not her, and like highlighting and celebrating her for this moment of the Oscar? So that was super shady. Hold on, let me get my point out. And then goes on to have her mother and her father on the Oprah show and just like really putting all of this negative, hurtful trauma past out there for the world to know. And it's like, what was the incentive for Oprah to do all of this? But to me, it goes back to, okay, controversy and drama does spark popularity and for people to follow it. So, yeah, I mean, I can understand Monique's issues with Oprah because supposedly then she started taking her roles that Monique was supposed to be in too. So it was just a snowball effect of her being played and no one really standing up for her.
I can actually give Oprah a little bit of a pass when it comes to the reason.
Can we pause right there though? I just gotta put him in his playpen because he's tearing shit up. Look at him. Look at him.
You look like
honey. It's honey. It's Honeybun. It's honey. Okay.
I do want to give Oprah just a little bit of a pass, right? Because the intention, at least from my vantage point, is this man is giving you an open-ended view on the mind of someone who potentially or did sexually assault someone. And I do think it's important to pick through the brains of those who have done wrong, whether they're remorseful or remorseless. But when it comes to, because she did reach out to Monique and Monique said it was okay, right? But when it comes to then adding her whole family and making that not about Monique, I do understand where she was coming from and where it was wrong. And then Oprah did the cardinal sin when it comes to apologizing. Because she said to Monique, if you feel that I did you wrong, I apologize. That is a lack of accountability in your apology. And the one thing that I can't stand is people who expect me to accept your apology. I don't think that was acceptable, and I don't want that. I want a real apology. I want real remorse. I want you to feel how I feel. I want you to be empathetic. And until Oprah does that, I don't fuck with her. I don't fuck with anything Oprah related. Even when Gene was saying that he was on Oprah's bestseller list, you could have just omitted that part for me because I didn't give a fuck. Because I think that she's part of the problem.
Definitely. And that just goes back to the Color Purple movie, right? And then when Taraji P. Henson came out and she was very emotional on her treatment during the creation of that movie and like the whole trailer thing where there was only one trailer and then they didn't really have food or transportation to and from the studio. So initially people were saying that Oprah wasn't to blame because, you know,
I don't
she's...
think she was.
Wait, can I?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so they were saying that she wasn't to blame, which to me, I don't think, like, I can't take that excuse only because there should be a level of sisterhood when it comes to Black women, right? Like, we're always saying, oh, they're the bottom of the totem pole, they don't get the respect they deserve. Okay, if that's the case, you have a person like Oprah who is a billionaire and who's on this level, right? And then she's a part of this production of the remake of The Color Purple. And then you have all of the other cast of Taraji P. Henson's. I think Fantasia was in there too. And they're lower, obviously, because they're not at the status of Oprah. And a lot of the white audience may not know who these Black actresses are. So it's like, when does that unity and sisterhood kick in? Because Oprah clearly is taking pictures with them, like she knows the cast and she knows they're going to be a part of this remake. So why can't you make sure that they're good and make sure, and you don't even have to do the work. Like, it could be your team and you are just telling your team to make sure they have this, this, and this, because I know that they may not be treated that well, or just making sure that everything's okay prior to them even starting this production.
Yes, and I apologize for cutting you off. But I believe that this is the important aspect of the entire Monique conversation, right? Because the whole idea that she's difficult to work with is because she's willing to speak out in situations like this. If something isn't right, I need you to know that something isn't right. Whether you agree with me or not, I need to express that, because if it isn't going to be right for me, imagine if I'm the star of this movie, imagine what it's going to be for the person who isn't the star of this movie. So when you're doing Taraji and Fantasia wrong, imagine what's going to happen to Maria and Shanta that's over here as an extra, right?
Yeah.
So we also got to look at it from this perspective of Monique's husband, who I think is an honorable man, regardless of what other people might think, is putting himself in the line of fire to say, hey, I don't think that that's right. I don't think that that's fair. And we got more people who are mad that he's doing that than the fact that it's being done to her. And I think that's where society really starts to fuck up. And then my last point on Fantasia and Taraji is we're looking at them like, oh, white people don't really know them like that. And it's like,
Well, let me just fix that in case it came off like that. I don't mean that a lot of white people don't know them, but I'm saying there could be a select group who don't know the level of accolades that these Black women have done, just because, like, we don't know a lot of white actors and actresses and their accolades. So I'm just saying, like, we see Fantasia and Taraji P. Henson on this pedestal, but whoever they're working with or working for, or whatever audience or leadership is supposed to be taking care of them, who may be from the white side, they may not know, like, okay, they need this level of stuff too, because it sounds like they were treated like shit, right? From what Taraji P. Henson was saying. So that's just my point. I don't mean that no white people knows who they are.
I hate
But
that we
I
looking
think
down.
there's probably a smaller group of people who know who they are than opposite.
Yeah. I say that to say we as a society are able to make that excuse to justify the misuse of funds, when deep down, if it's like Monique has an Oscar, right? If I can compare her as an Oscar winner to another person as an Oscar winner, that should warrant some type of pay increase. If I know Taraji P. Henson is this level of actress, or Fantasia is this level of star, it shouldn't be, oh, I don't think that everyone's going to tune in because of that. It's like, yo, who are these people? Look at the work that they've done. Look at the accolades that our industry has provided for them. Not solely just, oh, who's going to come see it. because that's a popularity contest. We can always manipulate views.
Do
Like
you
you can
think
put
they felt like that in the making of this movie of like who's
the
going to do it?
who
I don't
felt.
know who you're talking about. You're
Um,
saying,
well, I feel like the studios and the people who do the contracts and everything, I think they use that as a leverage point, which is why Monique went into that negotiation with Netflix. Like, where are you getting this information from? Why do you think that I'm only worth $500,000 if you think that this woman is worth X amount and you were able to increase her based on her individual accolades? So if I'm Taraji or if I'm Fantasia, I also have that leverage. And this is why we talked about this before. We need to publicize every single dollar that we make at every single company that we work at. Because if you don't, I can fuck you over just based on the strength that you don't know no better.
yeah, can we talk about that real quick
Mm-hmm.
personally?
Mm-hmm.
So, my new job, I work in tech, obviously, and there's always just a group of men that are on the team, solely men. So, my first day, I'm introduced to the team. I got my camera on. A lot of my other coworkers, they have their camera off besides like my two managers and two other white men too. So I see there's another woman on the team, and right after our call, she instantly sends me a message. She's like, "Hey Dana, I'm so excited that you joined the team. Like, I can't wait to work with you." It kind of caught me off guard because I've never started a job where I was getting so much love from one particular person. So it was a little odd for me because I've never experienced that. So me and her ended up having a separate conversation. And then I come to realize she's another Black woman. So she's older. She lives in Georgia. I believe she's outside of Atlanta. But nonetheless, now I understand why she's so excited, because not only am I another woman on the team, but I'm also Black as well. So we can relate to each other and we could just have more of a personable conversation. So we get to talking about salary. Like, she now feels that comfortable after a couple weeks when she's telling me about her salary, the benefits of the company, and what she's getting based off her role. Mind you, we're on the same team. We don't have the same title.
Mm-hmm.
So she's telling me that, like, I spoke to the director before I was hired, and he asked me, how much do I think I'm worth for this particular role? So she tells him, and then he says, listen, it's a little high than what we can offer, but you'll also get this much percentage of a 401k match. Like, it was starting at 8%, which is super high. And then after 3 years, it changes to 12%, which is even better. So she's telling me all of this stuff, and I'm sitting there not only surprised at the benefits, but the fact that she feels that comfortable to start talking money and salary, because that's another thing that I haven't talked to coworkers about until we were like maybe a year or two into working together. So the fact that I've known this woman for a couple months and she's telling me like what she's getting and compared to me, and we're having that conversation, like, I'm feeling more secure in that this is someone I'm working with who I can trust to this level of, we can talk personal finances. You can't do that with everybody too, right? Like, you can't have those conversations with just like one of your coworkers. You can, but to me, I don't know if they're telling the truth based off like they don't want to seem like they're getting paid more than me and they don't want to tell me. But with her, she was just giving this information, and I think that makes you feel more secure in your role that, okay, we're getting paid around the same amount of money and I'm not being lowballed. And it just makes you want to stay at the company longer because you do have someone that you can confide in on like different job related issues. So that's how I felt.
Yeah, at my last job, I made sure after I got comfortable enough that I didn't feel like people would sabotage me, right? Because that's my biggest thing. Like, I don't trust people. But once I established trust with my two coworkers, we had a real honest conversation, and they both were internal promotes. And the problem with being an internal promote is, while it is opportunity to grow your salary a little bit through clearly you're a great employee, you can get merit increases. The difference is you're working up to a number where I'm starting at that number. So if I come in at 80,000 and you got promoted from 30,000, you're only going up to probably 40 or 50,000. Imagine you sitting here working with me every single day, doing the same thing, and I'm getting 30,000 more than you.
And that brings the conversation back to Monique, where she was saying her and what's her name? Contessa?
Countess Vaughn.
Yes. The one who played her daughter in the Parkers, how they weren't getting anything compared to how much the Parkers made over, I think they had like 5 seasons, 22 episodes each season. And the show in general, from when it ran, made like $1 billion. And they were barely getting like a quarter of that. So that was another fight that she's dealing with. So it's like, while she's going through all of these trials and tribulations, who is there in her corner? Like, who is that brother or sister or someone who she can like confide in this industry and tell her like, hey, listen, like, these are the contracts that you should be doing. She also mentioned how she didn't know she could be executive producer on a show after, I think it was like 3 years. So yeah, like all these different things that I think if she had someone like the woman that I'm working with, or someone who already was like there to help her along, she would have been in a better position. So it's just fucked up the way things transpired for her.
Yeah, and then the last thing I want to talk about, because you just made a really, really good point, is the people in your corner, right? Because a lot of people are hypercritical of her husband, and they don't put into consideration who this woman is, what her history is. Not just from an abused relationship as a child, which has trickled into her motherhood, and that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But it's also gotten into her as a professional. When she gets to Hollywood, she hires that white guy that's gonna, wheel and deal, and then all of a sudden he's stealing from you and doing different things, putting you in bad positions, giving you bad business negotiations. She then hired her brother, one of her other brothers, who was also stealing from her, putting her in bad deals, bad business negotiations. So when you have a history of people that you can't trust, and you finally find a situation where you trust this person with your life and everything is tied in, absolutely have your husband as your manager. Absolutely. If he's difficult for other people to work with, maybe they're difficult for him to work with. Maybe they're not giving him the information to relate to you that you feel like is fair. If I'm working on the Parkers and you're telling me that $55,000 an episode for the two of you is fair, show me. Show me based on my worth what Moesha was making, or the Hughleys was making, or whatever other popular show in that time, Girlfriends maybe, is making, from our perspective, as me and her are getting paid the same amount, because we have this rule. I think she said Laverne and Shirley rule or something like that. So that way I know what to negotiate, because I don't know what to negotiate. They were talking about Leslie Jones when she was on Ghostbusters. And now Leslie Jones is a big star. She's on Saturday Night Live. She's a household name, but she got paid pennies to the dollar compared to, I believe, Melissa McCarthy when it came to Ghostbusters. She was making millions of dollars, but we're in the same set. Granted, you have different roles, you have a different face, you have different promotions, so I get it. But it's like, I don't know what to negotiate. So, like, make me feel valued, but we don't know.
Yeah, and just one more point about the Monique interview, something that you mentioned with her husband and him being in her corner and him being a strong support system. I think that's very admirable, and I do feel like they weren't expecting her to have such a strong support system as a husband in that regard. She mentioned how after everything transpired with Tyler Perry and Oprah, Tyler Perry was willing to have a conversation with her. And I'm assuming to apologize or just go over any type of details or whatever that happened between their relationship. And she wanted her husband to be there because, like, she is a woman and Tyler Perry is a man. And there can be times where, she may feel like, if I had a strong support system like another man there, like, I'll feel more comfortable having a conversation with you, which is fair. And ultimately, Tyler Perry didn't want to have that conversation with her husband there, which I thought was very strange, because Is it the intimidation, or is it because you didn't want her to feel that empowered having such a strong force with her there as well? Because he is a powerful person, Tyler Perry. Like, he has all of the accolades, he has the studios, he has all these movie things that he's doing. And then you have Monique, who, you know, she got stuck in one particular time in her career that she's trying to move forward from. So, you know, like, what was the reason why her husband couldn't be there with her to have a conversation with Tyler Perry? Like, that was strange for me.
It wasn't strange. They don't like him. They make him out to be the scapegoat. Um, and I'm actually trying to get him on the show. I would reach out to him via LinkedIn. I actually would rather talk to him than Monique. Not that I wouldn't want to talk to Monique. You know, I love her, but I love his demeanor, his poise, his willingness to step in. I think that's a model of how men should be in a relationship. Now, I don't know their inner workings. I don't know how they are as lovers or what the case may be. I don't care about that. I care about the fact that I see a man and a woman with the nuclear family putting themselves out there and doing the right things. So, you know, shout out to them. We could talk about them for hours on end.
Because this is part one, we're going to end it here, and then we're going to start part two for next week. So, guys, thank you for tuning in with us and sitting with us for this hour and 13 minutes. And yeah, like, if you want to join our conversation, if you're intrigued by anything, definitely reach out to our Gmail at woawpod@gmail.com.
And with that
So,
being said,
thanks, we out until part two.